666 call. Hi guys. Tonight something really strange happened to me. I was watching Flash series comfortably, but suddenly a big wish to call to 666 came to me. I don't know why, but I fucking called that number. And I didn't believe in the cursed numbers and the internet phenomenon thing, but I tried to call before, and it says that OT doesn't exist. But I've heard the tune of calling that confused me a bit, but then it answered. It heard like 100 voices talking at the same time in reverse, and in a very, very high tune. I got really scared, and I still am. The only way that I can feel free is telling people that I lived and heard it. I don't know if it depends on the hour or the place that you call. I called at 9:16 on Mexico. After this, I realized I should have taken a screenshot of some kind to prove it. But I was scared, as I've never felt before. I don't expect you to believe me. Please don't play with his number. I don't know what it contacts, but it was an indescribable fear. Thanks. This is my first post because I wanted people to know that calling 666 on a phone is real. Hope you believe my story. And if anyone here has any explanations or opinions or something, please tell me. I am not relaxed. Please. Seeing the number 666? Okay, so I'm not a big believer in the signs of numbers, nor do I believe spirits give you clues and hints as such when it comes to seeing numbers everywhere. But this made me raise my eyebrows. It could be nothing, but I thought I'd share. I have a Fitbit, and a few days ago I went to check my steps, and my steps were 6,666. I laughed it off. A day ago I had a dream that I won 20k at bingo, I wish, but it was split between me and two others, so 20k divided by 3 is 6,666 and 66 cents. Now, last night I checked my Fitbit again because, well, I'm trying to lose a little weight here, and guess what? My steps at that point were 10,666, and my heart rate was 66 BPM. I mean, really? I took pictures of the numbers, and it's on my blog, if anyone wants to see it. Years of paranormal experience and satanic cult in a haunted forest. I have never ever used Reddit before, so please excuse me if I do something wrong, trying not to. This is going to be a long-ass story of paranormal experiences I've had since forever, and a haunted forest that is involved with some cult practice, so please brace yourselves. My father is a gypsy, a real future-telling tarot cards gypsy, adjusted to live in the civilized society, and so am I. My grandmother, from my mother's side, on the other hand, was considered a witch. She'd often tell me about witchcraft, ghosts, all sorts of paranormal stuff, you know? She taught me about having prophetic dreams, which I think I might have inherited from her, but there's a bunch of whole other stories for a whole other time. I've been seeing orbs, shadow men, movements in the corner of my eye, hearing sounds, whispers, feeling watched. I also had something move objects around, throw and push things, shut the door or the light. Very typical poltergeist experiences. You know, you can kind of tell them apart when being haunted or such, and I feel like I can tell the poltergeist from the other things. I'm not threatened by it, and it mostly feels playful, if you're used to it like me. I usually talk to them, telling them to stop, or thanking it sometimes. The Shadow Man is a completely different thing, though. First time I saw it, I was 8 years old, coming back from school. My apartment block was not located far from the street or other housing, but you had to pass through a small field of weeds and a few trees. No more than 300 meters in length. Very see-through, just a green area that's often around residential areas in Poland. It was broad daylight, and I saw a shadow man that I remember looking like he was wearing a hood, but I could clearly see it was no human. Even as a child, I thought he looked like he was made of thick black smoke. I was halfway through the sidewalk. He was walking towards me, and I tried to look back to make it disappear a few times, but he was still there, just getting closer, and I just ran off home scared as hell, not looking back. Ever since then, I've been seeing shadows moving and hearing someone talk things I can't understand. This stopped at around 15. So I had my mother, and she has almost nightly sleep paralysis. My two flatmates have had feelings like they were being watched and seeing shadows as well. We have experienced various doors shutting and object misplacing as well, regular things everyone knows about. Now, let me tell you a series of events I like to call the needles. It all started when I was 17 years old. I had a dream. I found a sewing needle in my mouth. The next day, I found such a needle stuck, the pointy end outwards into my hairbrush. It lasted 3 months, almost every day. I would find a sewing needle somewhere in the house where it should not be. Bathtub, laundry basket, sink floor, or the more scary part, stuck in the bed under me, in my pillow, in my hair, in my sheets. And the one that disturbed me the most, in my knee. Like edgeways, stable stab to my knee, and it didn't even wake me up. It stopped suddenly. Nothing special. I've also have teeth marks on my elbows, arms, legs, or other unexplained cuts, scars, scratches, before enduring that a few times. Now a few years passed. I'm 21 years old, and I got to thinking about the forest outside my town. I was discussing it with my friend, and we realized neither of us had ever seen or heard an animal, a bug, an insect, or bird, or even a flower, or a plant, other than weeds and trees in there. What everyone who lives here did see and know was very gruesome and regular animal sacrifices. All around the deepest parts of it, animal heads, skinned animals hung on a wire, burned animals, birds, cats, dogs, anything. 2 years ago, people also found a guy I knew that was missing, stabbed and hung on a wire post-mortem. You might ask, why do people go there? The answer is bunkers. Dozens of them. And back in the day, like the 90s, you could have found human bones in that forest, or bunkers, weapons, bullet shells. And people generally like to explore such places. About the human bones, every few years or so, they try to build a hotel or a mall somewhere, and to discover a mass grave or a few skulls from varying times in history in the middle of the city. The same happened each time they started building residential areas. My town has always been a popular spot during history and wars, if anyone is interested. The ones with a big brick castle, it is. Back to the forest. Ask anyone over 30 years old. They will say they have been cult practices, black mass, or something in the forest. I wanted to investigate it, and here are the most interesting attempts. This forest is divided into 2 parts. The first one is just outside of town and has tracks and some people around for bonfires or bicycle riding sometimes. The other part is further, bigger, and unattended. It also goes much deeper than the first. Tried to enter the first forest through the back of a graveyard, Friday, 3 a.m., and we encountered a guy just standing on the edge of the forest, not moving at all, looking at us. We came to around 20 meters of him, and he still wouldn't move, so we turned back. Tried to perform a cleansing ritual with my friend in the first part as well. We wanted to make a bonfire, but nothing would burn or catch fire. I still regret not recording this, but we would stick paper to a lighter and it would just turn black. We heard rustling and we saw a shadow climbing a slope our way, and we ran off. The latest 2 that might have led to what I was experiencing lately. We tried to investigate the second forest in the middle of the night. We came close to a bunker and then heard the loudest sound, like dropping a brick from a concrete ceiling to the concrete floor, this loud of a thump. We came inside, and the wicket would keep closing and opening. A stone moved across the floor like someone kicked it, and there were runes and cryptic writings drawn everywhere on the walls, some pentagrams and 666 signs. But that could be nothing. Outside, when we looked around, we could make out specific shapes made out of twigs, kind of like triangle cones, big and small, even hung on the trees. When we came home, I had a red bruisey mark on my shoulder, and me and my friend had identical 2 twin scratches that looked like made with a fork on our bodies, where we had our skin covered. Then I put our tarot for him in my house, and the shawls I put it on caught on fire in a really weird way. The cards weren't even warm. The candle stood on an untouched surface, still burning. Ever since then, I'd had like an invasion of black orbs every single person would see that came here. I performed a cleansing ritual on the house and they went away, but the eerie feeling of someone being there remained. A few days ago, I wanted to show someone that forest, and we went there by car really deep where I hadn't been before. I think it was the place where they excavated ancient graves, barrow, tumulus, I don't know, the ones made of stone, and we discovered a place. There had been construction that looked somewhat different from a bunker, and this time, the triangle cones were everywhere. Every single step you took, there were some huge. Some were really huge and made of multiple twigs per arm. Then we noticed there was a huge cut down birch, and they do not grow in that forest, and one smaller cone made of that birch. When we came closer, there was a crow impaled and burned. I experienced very, very heavy hallucinations there. I haven't had a single delusion since I was a kid, and I would constantly see inhumanely figures standing around in that forest. that would eventually disappear. That's why I took no pictures, and again ran off. It was merely afternoon and everything was fine. But the next day I woke up with an identical red bruising on my arm. This time, and I've been seeing and hearing things in my house all the time. What convinced me to seek some insight and help in this situation is that I have been marked today. I want to upload pictures of something that looked like painted with some brownish ink on my left thigh that I woke up with. I managed to mostly wash it off. It does not hurt or itch or burn. It wasn't scratched on or anything. It just looked like a regular water paint. Can anyone make anything out of it? I will appreciate any help or information, as I feel like I have been marked for something, and I don't know how to handle it. Thank you in advance, and I'll answer any questions if necessary. Opinions on this satanic ring? For a while, I dated this man. For my birthday, he gave me a real silver band ring, and on the outside it said, the word charisma twice. A week before Christmas, he asked for it back and stated he wanted to get our anniversary date on the inside. He had the ring back on Christmas, and out it on my left ring finger and told me not to take it off or wear it on another finger. I didn't end up taking it off till a couple months later when my friend asked if she could see it. When I handed it to her, she handed it back and asked why 666 was engraved on the inside of it. I was shocked and took it back. When I got home, I had a closer look and there was something on the inside. It appeared to be blood. A week later, he admitted to being satanic, and we split. I put the ring up and could never find it until today. He messaged me today, coincidentally. It's been about 3 years since I've seen or talked to him. What is your guys' opinion on the ring? Good guy ghost? This was probably around 7 years ago. My partner at the time and I, we'll call him Sean, because that is his name, had just moved into an apartment located in an old schoolhouse from the 1930s, and a house located in a historic district of our town. The first few weeks there, I've had recurring dreams of this bigger middle-aged guy in a pinstripe suit standing on the porch. I don't know if it's relevant, but I do remember that. They weren't nightmares. I just had them a few times. I felt the place definitely had some kind of a presence, but I liked that feeling at the time. And most buildings that old, dude. It was way better than our last apartment, to be honest, which was absolutely screwed and almost killed Sean. And nothing about the new place felt malicious at all. The guy that lived in the apartment behind us sold drugs, and because we had the first door on the porch, weirdos were always accidentally, or not so accidentally, walking into our apartment where the door was unlocked. It wasn't uncommon to have a stranger walk into our living room, see us, freak out and run out the door. After the first few times, we got better, and I'm always keeping the door locked, but we kinda came to expect randos at least knocking on the door or trying to get inside. So one day, Sean was at work, and I was folding laundry in the bedroom. Back then, I was always making tacos and heating up the tortillas directly on the burners of the stove. That day, I was hungry and distracted by all the housework, and as I put my tortilla on the stove, I promptly and completely forgot about it, and went back to folding laundry. After 5 or 10 minutes, I heard a loud male voice call out from the living room, "Hello?" I ran out of the bedroom thinking some idiot thought our apartment was the drug dealers, then to the kitchen because no one was in our living room. The tortilla had caught on fire, and there was about 2-foot flames coming from the eye of the stove. I shoved the tortilla into a pot and put it in a sink. Thankfully, the stove didn't catch on fire. The kitchen was just super smoky. I ran to the front door, but it was locked. Any believers out there know what I'm talking about. I mean, you can feel it, even though you can't really see it. You can feel but none of your normal 5 senses can detect it, you know? But you know it's there. It's a little disconcerting, and always making me teary-eyed. So that's what I was feeling like a complete idiot, but knowing what I had to do. I totally said out loud, "Thanks for that. I do appreciate that, but I'm a little freaked out right now being home alone. So if you just want to come back later while Sean's home, I really appreciate that, because I'm scared." And the rest of Sean's workday while I was home alone was fireless and ghostless, and I was just a little freaked out by the fire and the voice. So hours later, Sean gets home. He and I had some experiences at our apartment before that, but we had witnessed them together, and I had been alone this time, so I was a little scared, I'll be honest. I didn't know exactly how to bring it without seeming like a complete lunatic, and I, of course, was questioning my own sanity even. So we're there, flipping back and forth on 4 channels our TV picked up, and I'm wondering if and when I should mention it to him, when the remote just starts dialing 6 over and over and over. No matter what button he pressed, 6666666 kept popping up on the screen. I tried the remote and the same thing happened. Tried pressing mute, other numbers, volume, power, just 6666666. We stopped pressing the remote at all and threw it on the ground. And 6666666 kept coming up on the screen. So at this point, he's spooked and getting that teary-eyed feeling too. And like, dude, you're not gonna believe this shit, but this is what happened to me today. This shit with the remote seemed funny. I didn't really believe in demons or shitty ghosts at the time, so it just seemed humorous to me. We were totally laughing as we were freaking out. Satanic TV. I did feel the presence wasn't a piece of shit. Maybe saved me from a kitchen fire, and maybe then played a joke on us with that 666 stuff. Maybe it was another entity altogether. I don't know. Maybe some kids were sitting outside our window with a universal remote playing tricks on us on a day that just happened to coincide with the time I told a disembodied voice to come back later when my boyfriend was home. I don't know. But that's probably my best ghost story. And never leave tortillas on the stove unattended. Just a coincidence? I posted something similar to this before. I'm going to keep it short this time. I have very, very bad OCD. I also have a fear of hell and also the numbers 666 and 616, the number of the beast and the alternative number of the beast respectively. As I was driving, I had an OCD thought that if I didn't look at the license plate of the car in front of me, and then saw the number of the beast in a specific neighborhood, then I would be damned. I resisted the OCD temptation, mostly because I had moved ahead by the car this time. Not an hour later, I was in the neighborhood, and I saw a car someone was putting up for sale. Written on the window was a phone number, XXX 616 3666. This coincidence really bothers me, because I saw the 2 numbers I fear the most appear in the same goddamn phone number, 616-666. Just an hour after having that OCD thought in my mind. Now I'm more worried than ever about going to hell, and I can't even function, to be honest. Is it just a really bad coincidence, or is there something paranormal here? The only thing I can think of is the law of attraction. Please, help, guys.